Listen, warrior. Right now, somewhere in the shadows of your life, someone is watching. They're watching your moves. They're tracking your progress. They're measuring your resolve. And you know what they're hoping for? They're hoping you break. They're hoping you stumble. They're hoping you prove them right when they whispered behind your back that you weren't strong enough, disciplined enough, focused enough to become who you claim you want to be. They want you to stay small because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. They want you to quit because your persistence exposes their excuses. They want you to crumble because your rising threatens the comfortable story they've told themselves about why they couldn't do it. So they wait, they watch, they whisper, and they're betting everything on your collapse. But here's what they don't understand. Here's what they've completely miscalculated. They're dealing with someone who has discovered something ancient, something unbreakable, something that has survived 2,000 years of human chaos and still stands stronger than steel. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome while fighting wars on frozen frontiers, wrote these words in his private journal: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just philosophy. This is warfare, internal warfare. And you're about to learn how the ancient Stoics turned pressure into power and doubters into motivation. Look around you right now. Look at the world we're living in. Everyone's chasing the next dopamine hit. Everyone's running from discomfort like it's poison. Everyone's outsourcing their happiness to circumstances, to other people's approval, to the next purchase, the next relationship, the next escape. The modern human has become soft. Not physically soft, though that's often true too. Mentally soft, emotionally soft, spiritually soft. We've been conditioned to believe that comfort equals success, that feelings should dictate actions, that if something's hard, we should quit and find something easier. And those people watching you, they're counting on you to follow that script. They're counting on you to be like everyone else, to fold when things get tough, to blame circumstances when you fail, to give up when the path gets steep. They want you to confirm their worldview that real change is impossible, that discipline is overrated, that the system is rigged, that some people just have it and others don't. But you're here, and that means something. That means somewhere deep in your bones, beneath all the noise and doubt and fear, there's still a fire burning. A fire that refuses to be extinguished by their skepticism. A fire that knows you're capable of more than you've shown so far. The question is, are you ready to stop performing for their expectations and start building for your transformation? This message isn't for everyone. If you're looking for someone to tell you it's okay to stay comfortable, you're in the wrong place. If you need someone to validate your excuses, I'm not that person. If you want permission to keep blaming the world for your circumstances, close this video right now. But if you're one of the few who understands that life rewards action over intention, discipline over motivation, and silence over explanation, then stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to learn the 6 Stoic laws that will transform you from someone who reacts to pressure into someone who uses pressure as fuel. You're going to understand why the ancient philosophers who faced exile, war, betrayal, and death still maintained unshakable inner peace. And you're going to discover how to shut down every single person who's waiting for you to break. By becoming so disciplined, so focused, so in control of your inner world that their doubts become irrelevant. If that fire still burns inside you, if you're tired of living below your potential, if you're ready to stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your character, then this is your moment. Let's begin. Number 1. They feed on your reaction. Starve them with silence. The first thing you need to understand is this: people who want you to fail need your reaction. They need you to defend yourself. They need you to explain yourself. They need you to argue, to justify, to prove. Because every time you engage, you're giving them exactly what they want: your energy, your attention, your emotional investment. And the more you react, the more power you hand them. The more you explain, the weaker you appear. The more you justify, the more you reinforce their position as your judge. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher who served as advisor to emperors and survived plots against his life, understood this deeply. He wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Think about that. Not to respond in kind, not to lower yourself to their level, not to match their energy with yours, but to become so different, so elevated, so unmoved by their tactics that your very existence becomes the response. Here's what happens in the modern world. Someone criticizes your goals. Someone mocks your discipline. Someone questions your path. And immediately, you feel that heat rising in your chest. That need to defend. That urge to prove them wrong with words. So you engage. You explain your vision. You list your accomplishments. You argue your case. And you know what happens? Nothing. They're not convinced. Because they were never asking a genuine question. They were testing you. They were trying to see if they could pull you off center. And you just showed them they can. The Stoic approach is radically different. When someone doubts you, you don't react. You observe. You note their words the way a scientist notes data. Interesting, you think. This person needs me to fail for some reason. This person is invested in my limitations. Then you return to your work. No explanation, no defense, no energy wasted. You let your actions speak in a language so clear that words become unnecessary. I want you to imagine 2 scenarios. In the first, someone tells you your goals are unrealistic. You spend 30 minutes explaining why they're wrong, listing evidence, getting emotional, defending your dreams. They walk away unconvinced, and you walk away drained. In the second scenario, same criticism, but you simply nod, say, "I hear you," and return to the daily discipline that's building your dream brick by brick. A year later, they see the results. No argument needed. No explanation required. The work spoke. This is what the Stoics called apatheia, not apathy in the modern sense of not caring, but freedom from pathos, from being controlled by external events and other people's opinions. You care deeply about your path. You just don't care about defending it to people who aren't walking it with you. There's a massive difference. One is passion directed at your purpose. The other is energy wasted on validation. And here's the paradox that most people miss. The moment you stop needing to prove yourself is the moment you become truly powerful. Because power doesn't argue. Power doesn't explain. Power simply is. A lion doesn't concern itself with the opinions of sheep, not because the lion is arrogant, but because the lion is busy being a lion. Your job isn't to convince anyone of your worth. Your job is to build your worth into something so undeniable that no opinion can touch it. So the next time someone doubts you, I want you to try something. Feel that urge to react. that need to defend, that desire to prove, and then, consciously, deliberately, choose silence. Not the silence of defeat, but the silence of someone who knows that the work ahead is more important than the argument at hand. Watch what happens. Watch how it throws them off balance. Watch how your calm becomes more powerful than any words could be. And watch how, over time, they either become irrelevant to your journey, or they become curious about the discipline that keeps you so centered. Type this below if you're ready to master the power of silence. My actions speak louder than their doubts. Let me see it. Number 2. Your discipline is the greatest threat to their excuses. Now let's talk about why they're really watching you, why they really want you to break. And this is going to sting a little, because it's going to make you realize that their negativity was never really about you. It was always about them. Your discipline, your commitment, your refusal to quit. It's a mirror, and that mirror is reflecting back to them all the times they gave up, all the times they chose comfort over growth, all the times they let fear win, and they can't stand what they see. Epictetus, who went from slave to one of the most respected philosophers in Rome, taught his students, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. He understood that two people can face the same circumstances, and one will find excuses while the other finds a way. And when you're the person finding a way, you become a living contradiction to everyone who's been finding excuses. That's why they're hoping you break. Because your success makes their failures feel like choices instead of inevitabilities. Think about this. When you wake up at 5 in the morning to train while everyone else is asleep, you're not just building your body. You're threatening the narrative that says waking up early is too hard. When you say no to distractions and yes to focused work, you're not just being productive. You're destroying the excuse that there's never enough time. When you maintain emotional control in situations that would send others into chaos, you're not just being mature. You're proving that self-mastery is possible. And every single one of those actions is a threat to someone who's been telling themselves that what you're doing can't be done. Here's what most people don't understand about discipline. It's not about perfection. It's not about never failing. It's about the repetition of small choices that compound over time into an identity that's unrecognizable from where you started. The Stoics called this ascesis, training. They understood that character isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through practice, through repetition, through choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, again and again and again, until it becomes who you are. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Not someday, not when circumstances are perfect, not when you feel motivated. Now, today, in this moment, with what you have, where you are. That's discipline. And that kind of discipline is absolutely terrifying to people who've been waiting for perfect conditions to start living. So here's what you need to understand. Every single day that you show up, you're winning. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort, you're winning. Every time you do the work when you don't feel like it, you're winning. Not against them. Against the version of yourself that would have quit. And that internal victory is so much more important than any external validation, because external validation is fickle. It comes and goes based on trends and moods and opinions. But internal victory, that's permanent. That's yours. That can never be taken away. And the beautiful thing about discipline is that it's self-reinforcing. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. The more you strengthen it in one area of your life, the more it spreads to others. You start with waking up early, and suddenly you're better at controlling your diet. You master your diet, and suddenly you're more focused at work. You improve your work, and suddenly you're more patient with people. It's all connected. It's all training. It's all building the kind of person who doesn't break under pressure because they've been pressurizing themselves voluntarily every single day. So the next time you see that look in someone's eyes, that mix of skepticism and hope that you'll quit, I want you to remember this. Your consistency is your revenge. Not revenge in the petty sense. Revenge in the sense that the best way to respond to doubt is to become undeniable. They want you to break. Don't argue. Don't explain. Just show up tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that. Let the weeks turn into months, and the months turn into years, and the years turn into a life so disciplined, so focused, so intentional, that looking back at who you used to be feels like remembering a different person entirely. Comment below, I don't break, I build. Let's see that warrior energy. Number 3, master the fortress within. They can't touch what they can't reach. Here's a truth that's going to change everything for you. The reason most people break under external pressure is because they've built their entire sense of self on external foundations. Their confidence comes from other people's approval. Their happiness depends on circumstances going their way. Their peace is contingent on the absence of problems. So when someone criticizes them, when circumstances change, when problems arise, their entire world collapses. Because the foundation was never solid. It was borrowed. It was conditional. It was outside their control. The Stoics had a completely different architecture for the self. They taught that you must build what they called an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind and spirit that no external event can penetrate. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself during brutal military campaigns, reminded himself, external things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them, and that is within your power to erase any time. This is radical. This is revolutionary. This is saying that no matter what's happening outside, you have complete sovereignty over what happens inside. Think about what this means practically. Someone insults you. That's an external event. You can't control it. But your interpretation of that insult, your emotional response to it, your decision about how much importance to give it, that's entirely within your fortress. That's your domain. That's your kingdom. And no one, not a single person on this planet, can enter that kingdom without your permission. You are the gatekeeper. You are the sovereign. You decide what gets in and what stays out. But here's where most people fail. They leave the gates wide open. Every opinion, every criticism, every doubt, every disappointment just walks right in and sets up camp in their mind. And then they wonder why they feel so invaded, so overwhelmed, so controlled by external circumstances. It's because they never built the walls. They never trained the guards. They never established sovereignty over their inner world. Epictetus taught his students to make a distinction between what's up to them and what's not up to them. Your opinions, your choices, your responses, your effort, your character, these are up to you. Other people's opinions, circumstances, outcomes, the past, the future, these are not up to you. And the secret to unshakable peace is to invest all your energy in the first category and accept the second category as it comes. Not with resignation, but with the understanding that fighting against what you can't control is the definition of suffering. Let me paint you a picture. Two warriors enter the same battle. One warrior is worried about the outcome, thinking about whether he'll be celebrated or criticized, concerned about his reputation, afraid of injury. The other warrior is focused entirely on his technique, his breath, his present action. Both face the same external circumstances, but one is already defeated internally before the battle even begins. The other is free because he's built his fortress in the one place no arrow can reach, his own mind. This is what it means to be anti-fragile, a concept the ancient Stoics understood long before the modern term existed. It means you don't just survive pressure, you get stronger from it. How? By building your foundation on things that can't be shaken. Not on success, because success can be lost. Not on approval, because approval can be withdrawn. Not on circumstances, because circumstances always change. But on your character, on your principles, on your commitment to living according to your values regardless of outcome. That foundation is unshakable. And here's what happens when you build this fortress properly. People will try to shake you. They'll criticize. They'll doubt. They'll test. And you'll feel it the way a mountain feels the wind. You'll notice it. You'll observe it. But you won't be moved by it, because you're anchored in something deeper than their opinions. You're rooted in self-knowledge, in discipline, in the daily practice of choosing who you want to be, rather than reacting to who others think you should be. Seneca wrote something powerful about this. He said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The pressure they're putting on you, that's the friction. Those doubts they're projecting, that's the trial. And every time you remain centered, every time you refuse to be pulled off your path by their expectations, you're being polished. You're being perfected. Not in the sense of becoming flawless, but in the sense of becoming more truly yourself, more integrated, more whole, more unbreakable. So I want you to start thinking of your mind as sacred territory, as a space that you guard with the same intensity that an ancient city guarded its walls. Be selective about what thoughts you allow to take root. Be ruthless about cutting out mental habits that weaken you. Be disciplined about feeding your mind with wisdom, with philosophy, with ideas that strengthen your fortress rather than decay it. Because here's the truth. They're only waiting for you to break because they assume you're breakable. Prove them wrong by building something inside you that can't be broken. Write this down. Commit to it. Type it in the comments. I am the fortress. Unshaken, unbroken, unmoved. Let's see who's really ready for this. Number 4. They mistake your patience for weakness. Show them it's your weapon. Now, we need to talk about one of the most misunderstood aspects of Stoic power: patience. In our modern world, patience has been reframed as passivity, as weakness, as lack of ambition. We've been sold this narrative that if you're not aggressive, if you're not constantly pushing, if you're not moving at maximum speed, you're falling behind. And because of this narrative, people see your patience and they think you're soft. They think you're uncertain. They think you lack the courage to act. And that miscalculation on their part becomes your greatest advantage. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle, every delay, every moment where you're forced to wait is not a setback. It's information. It's preparation. It's the universe giving you exactly what you need to become the person who's ready for what's next. But only if you're patient enough to learn the lesson instead of bitter about the timeline. Think about nature. Think about how a tree grows. Does it rush? Does it panic about the seasons? Does it compare itself to the tree next to it? No. It grows at its own pace, deepening its roots during the seasons when no one can see the progress, strengthening its trunk through storms that would snap younger trees, patiently adding ring after ring until it becomes something so solid, so enduring, that it outlasts generations. That's the patience of natural law. That's the patience that builds something real. But here's where it gets tactical. When you're patient, when you're calm, when you're not reactive, people don't know what to do with you. They're used to getting reactions. They're used to triggering responses. They're used to being able to predict and manipulate based on emotional patterns. But when you respond to their provocation with stillness, when you meet their urgency with considered thought, when you refuse to be rushed into decisions or actions that aren't aligned with your principles, you become unpredictable. You become powerful. You become dangerous in the best possible way. Epictetus taught his students, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Patience isn't about killing time. It's about using time intentionally. It's about understanding that there's a difference between going fast and going far. Most people are sprinting in circles, busy but directionless, moving but not progressing. You're playing a longer game. You're building foundations while they're building facades. You're developing skills while they're collecting quick wins. You're transforming character while they're optimizing appearances. And patience is what allows you to stay committed to the deeper work while everyone else is distracted by the surface game. Here's a scenario. You're building a business, a skill, a body, a life. Someone looks at your progress and says, "You've been working on this for a year and you're still not where you want to be. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you should try something else." They're measuring you by their timeline, their expectations, their understanding of what success should look like. And if you're not patient, if you're not grounded in your own sense of timing, their doubt can become your doubt. You start questioning. You start comparing. You start thinking maybe they're right. But the Stoic response is completely different. You hear their comment. You acknowledge it. And then you return to the simple question, am I better today than I was yesterday? Am I learning? Am I growing? Am I staying true to my principles? If the answer is yes, then the timeline is irrelevant. You're not in competition with their expectations. You're in partnership with time, allowing it to do what only time can do. Compound small efforts into extraordinary results. Seneca had a beautiful way of putting this. He said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Most people experience life as short because they're constantly rushing, constantly anxious, constantly feeling behind. But when you're patient, when you trust the process, when you understand that mastery requires time and there are no shortcuts, life becomes expansive. You have time to build deep, time to learn thoroughly, time to transform completely, not because the clock moves slower, but because you're no longer fighting against it. And here's the secret that patient people know and anxious people miss. The right things happen at the right time. Not your time. The right time. Sometimes you're ready before the opportunity arrives, so patience teaches you to use that gap to prepare even more. Sometimes the opportunity arrives before you're ready, so patience gave you just enough foundation to rise to the challenge. But fighting against the timing, being bitter about the wait, demanding results before the work has had time to mature, that's how people break. That's how they quit right before the breakthrough. That's how they miss their moment because they were too busy being angry about their timeline. So when they see your patience and mistake it for weakness, smile internally, because you know something they don't. You know that patience combined with discipline is an unstoppable force. You know that the person who can delay gratification, who can work in obscurity, who can build without needing immediate validation, that person has a level of freedom that the instant gratification crowd will never understand. They're slaves to the urgent. You're in service to the important. They're racing. You're building. And when enough time passes, the difference becomes undeniable. Type this affirmation if you're committed to the long game. I trust the timing. I trust the process. I trust myself. Let me see who's really in this for the transformation, not just the temporary. Number 5. Your focus is your power. Protect it like your life depends on it. We need to talk about the most valuable resource you have. Not your time, though that's precious. Not your energy, though that's finite. Your attention, your focus, your ability to direct your mental resources toward what matters instead of being pulled in 1,000 directions by what doesn't. And here's what you need to understand. In the modern world, there is an entire ecosystem designed to steal your focus. Social media, news, drama, opinions, comparisons, notifications. Every single one of these is an attention vampire, designed to fragment your focus into useless pieces. And the people waiting for you to break, they're counting on you to be distracted. They're counting on you to be so scattered, so reactive, so pulled in different directions that you never actually build momentum on the things that matter. Because they understand something crucial. A person with fractured focus is a person without power, but a person with laser focus, with the ability to tune out noise and tune into signal, that person is unstoppable. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the largest empire on earth while practicing philosophy, wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not yesterday's mistakes, not tomorrow's worries, this moment, this task, this breath, because this is the only place where power exists. The past is information. The future is imagination. But the present is where action happens. And action is where results are born. When you're fully present, fully focused, fully committed to the task at hand, you tap into a level of performance that scattered people can't even comprehend. Here's what happens to most people. They sit down to work on something important. 5 minutes in, their phone buzzes. They check it. Just quickly, they tell themselves. 15 minutes later, they're 3 videos deep into content that has nothing to do with their goals. They snap out of it, feeling guilty, return to work. 2 minutes later, a thought pops up. I wonder what that person meant when they said that thing yesterday. Another 5 minutes lost to mental rumination. They return to work again. Now they're wondering if their approach is right. Maybe they should research other methods. An hour later, they've researched but not executed. And at the end of the day, they're exhausted but haven't actually moved forward. This is the epidemic. This is why most people never build anything significant. Not because they lack time, because they lack focus. The Stoic solution is brutal in its simplicity. Guard your attention like a soldier guards a gate. Be ruthless about what you allow in. Be disciplined about where you point your mental energy. Epictetus said, "Caretake this moment. Immerse yourself in its particulars, not in generalities, not in abstractions, not in the million things you could be thinking about. In this particular task, this particular conversation, this particular decision. Specificity is power. Focus is force. And here's something most people never consider. Every time you give your attention to something, you're voting for what you want more of in your life. You scroll through negativity, you're voting for more negativity. You engage with drama, you're voting for more drama. You consume content that makes you feel inferior, you're voting for more insecurity. But when you consciously direct your attention toward growth, toward learning, toward building, toward becoming, you're casting a vote for the life you actually want. And those votes compound. Those votes add up. Those votes eventually determine the entire architecture of your existence. Think about the greatest achievements in human history: art, science, philosophy, innovation. Every single one was created by someone who had the ability to focus deeply for extended periods. Not because they had more time than you, but because they protected their focus from the thousands of distractions that dilute most people's efforts. They understood that depth beats breadth, that mastery requires obsession, that transformation demands immersion. And they were willing to pay the price of saying no to good things so they could say yes to great things. Seneca wrote about this with piercing clarity. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. You can't be excellent at everything. You can't master multiple paths simultaneously. You have to choose. You have to commit. You have to focus your resources on the few things that matter and ruthlessly eliminate the many things that don't. And this is where most people fail. They want to keep all their options open. They want to dabble in everything. They want to avoid commitment because commitment feels limiting. But here's the paradox. Commitment is freedom. Focus is freedom. When you choose your path and eliminate distractions, you free up enormous energy to actually walk that path with power. So let me ask you directly, what's stealing your focus? What are you giving attention to that's not aligned with who you want to become? Social media scrolling, toxic relationships, news cycles, other people's drama, comparison. Whatever it is, you need to name it. You need to see it clearly, because you can't protect your focus from an invisible enemy. Once you see what's draining your attention, you can build barriers. You can create systems. You can design your environment and your habits in ways that make focus the default instead of distraction. Here's your challenge, and I want you to take this seriously. For the next 7 days, track where your attention goes. Not judgmentally, just observationally. Notice how many times you reach for your phone. Notice how many times your mind wanders during important work. Notice how many conversations you're only half present for. And at the end of the 7 days, ask yourself, if my attention is my power, how much power did I waste this week? Then make one change. Just one. Protect 1 hour of deep focus every day. No phone, no interruptions, no multitasking. Just you and the work that matters. Watch what happens. Watch how much more you accomplish in that 1 focused hour than in 4 scattered hours. The people waiting for you to break are distracted. They're scattered. They're reacting to every stimulus. They've surrendered their focus to algorithms and other people's agendas. That's why they're waiting for you to break, because that's what they did. But you're different. You're building something. And you can't build anything significant with fragmented attention. You need focus. You need depth. You need the ability to tune out everything that doesn't serve your transformation. Comment this commitment. I protect my focus. I direct my energy. I build with intention. Show me you're serious. Number 6. Your transformation threatens their comfort. Keep transforming anyway. Now we arrive at the core truth, the fundamental reason why they're watching, waiting, hoping you'll break. Your transformation is an indictment of their stagnation. Your evolution is a mirror reflecting their decision to stay the same. Your courage to change is a reminder of their choice to remain comfortable, and that makes them uncomfortable, deeply uncomfortable, because it forces them to confront a question they've been avoiding. If you can change, why haven't they? Marcus Aurelius understood that change is the only constant. He wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." The universe is in constant flux. Seasons change, bodies change, circumstances change. And the people who thrive are the ones who flow with that change, who embrace it, who use it as fuel for growth. But most people resist change. They cling to comfort. They worship consistency even when that consistency is keeping them mediocre. And when someone breaks that pattern, when someone dares to transform, it disrupts the entire social ecosystem. Here's what happens. You used to be one way. Maybe you were undisciplined. Maybe you were reactive. Maybe you made excuses. Maybe you played small. And everyone around you got comfortable with that version of you. They knew how to relate to you. They knew what to expect from you. They had a role for you in their story. But then you started changing. You started waking up early. You started saying no to things that used to be automatic. You started prioritizing different things. You started becoming someone they don't recognize. And that scares them. Not because you're doing anything to them, but because your transformation implies that they could transform too. And if they're not transforming, that means they're choosing not to. And that choice suddenly becomes visible, and it's not comfortable to look at. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." Most people tell themselves that change is too hard, that transformation is for other people, that their circumstances are uniquely limiting. These stories protect them from having to take responsibility. They provide comfort in staying the same. But when you show up and prove through your actions that change is possible, that transformation is achievable, that circumstances can be overcome, you remove their excuse. You tear down their protection. And instead of being grateful, instead of being inspired, some people become resentful, because you've made their comfort uncomfortable. And here's what you need to understand. That's not your problem. That's not your responsibility. You are not required to stay small, so others feel big. You are not obligated to stay weak, so others feel strong. You are not supposed to dim your light, so others aren't bothered by the darkness they've chosen. Your job, your only job, is to become the fullest expression of your potential, to live according to your principles, to honor the potential that exists within you. And if that makes people uncomfortable, that's information about them, not about you. Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because improvement means leaving behind the person you were, and the people who knew that person might not like the person you're becoming. They might criticize your discipline as obsession. They might mock your focus as antisocial. They might question your transformation as fake or temporary. Let them. Their opinion is not your compass. Their comfort is not your responsibility. Your transformation is not up for vote. But here's where this gets really powerful. Every time you continue transforming, despite their discomfort, you're not just changing yourself. You're giving permission to others who are watching silently. For every loud voice telling you to stop changing, there are quiet observers who are inspired by your courage. For every person who wants you to break, there's someone who needs to see that transformation is possible. You're not just building your own life. You're becoming living proof that human beings can choose who they become. And that proof is more powerful than any motivational speech. Think about the ancient Stoics. Marcus Aurelius was emperor. He could have lived in luxury, indulged every desire, taken every shortcut. Instead, he chose discipline. He chose philosophy. He chose to govern himself with the same rigor he governed Rome. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome. He could have hoarded his wisdom, kept his insights private. Instead, he chose to teach, to write, to share. Epictetus was born a slave. He could have been bitter, resentful, defined by his circumstances. Instead, he chose to free his mind even though his body was bound, and eventually became a teacher whose wisdom echoes through millennia. Each of them transformed despite circumstances that would have justified staying the same. And their transformations didn't just change their own lives. They created philosophy that has guided millions. Your transformation matters. Not because you're going to be the next Marcus Aurelius, though maybe you will be, but because every person who chooses growth over comfort, discipline over ease, transformation over stagnation creates a ripple, changes the culture, raises the standard, shows what's possible. And that ripple might reach someone who desperately needs to see an example of courage, someone who's been told change is impossible, someone who's waiting for permission to become more than they currently are. So when you feel the pressure of their expectations, when you sense their discomfort with your transformation, when you see that look that says they're waiting for you to revert back to who you were, I want you to do something. I want you to remember why you started. Remember the moment you decided you were done living below your potential. Remember the fire that sparked when you realized you could be more. Remember the commitment you made to yourself before anyone else was watching. And then, use their doubt as fuel. Use their discomfort as confirmation that you're on the right path. Because easy doesn't threaten anyone. Mediocre doesn't make anyone uncomfortable. But transformation, excellence, discipline, those things disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. Keep transforming. Keep evolving. Keep becoming. Not to prove anything to them, but because you owe it to yourself. Because you have one life and you're not going to waste it being a fraction of what you could be, just because someone else is uncomfortable with your fullness. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati, love of fate. Love what happens. Love the journey. Love the transformation. Even love the resistance, because it's making you stronger. Type this declaration, I transform, I evolve, I become. Nothing stops this. Let's see that commitment. And now, my friend, we need to tie this all together. We need to look at what we've covered and understand what it means in the context of your one wild and precious life. Because all the philosophy in the world, all the ancient wisdom, all the Stoic principles mean nothing if they don't translate into how you live tomorrow morning when you wake up. You've learned that silence is power, that your refusal to react is your greatest weapon against those who want to pull you off center. You've learned that your discipline threatens their excuses, that every day you show up is a day you're proving that transformation is a choice, not a gift. You've learned to build your fortress within, to create an inner citadel so strong that external events can't shake your foundation. You've learned that patience is not passivity, but strategy. That playing the long game, while others sprint in circles, gives you an advantage they can't comprehend. You've learned that focus is your superpower, that protecting your attention is protecting your future. And you've learned that your transformation will make people uncomfortable. And that's not a reason to stop. It's confirmation that you're on the right path. But here's what ties all of this together. Here's the ultimate Stoic truth that gives all these principles their weight and their urgency. You're going to die. Memento mori. Remember death. Not in a morbid way. Not in a depressing way, but in a clarifying way. You have a limited number of days on this earth. You have a finite amount of time to become who you're capable of becoming. And every single day that you live according to someone else's expectations instead of your own principles is a day you can never get back. Marcus Aurelius, who had every reason to believe his position would protect him from mortality, still reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Imagine living like that. Imagine making decisions with the full awareness that this might be your last chance to choose courage over fear, discipline over comfort, truth over approval. How would that change things? How would that sharpen your focus? How would that clarify what actually matters? The people waiting for you to break will all be dust one day. You will be dust one day. The question is, what will you have built in the time between now and then? Will you have spent your precious days seeking their approval, defending yourself against their doubts, living small to make them comfortable? Or will you have used every single day as an opportunity to practice virtue, to build character, to become more fully yourself? Because that's the Stoic path. That's the warrior's way. Not fighting against external enemies, though sometimes that's necessary, but waging daily war against your own mediocrity, your own excuses, your own tendency to take the easy path. Seneca wrote something that should shake you awake. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Most people will waste decades of their life in the waiting room, waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for permission, waiting for certainty, waiting for motivation, waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for other people to believe in them. And they'll die with their potential locked inside them, with their gifts undelivered, with their transformation incomplete. Don't be most people. Don't waste your time waiting. Start now. Start today. Start this moment with the next decision you make. Here's what I want you to understand about this moment right now. You watching this video, you reading these words, you feeling this fire ignite inside you. This isn't random. This is the universe, fate, whatever you want to call it, giving you a choice point. You can close this video and go back to living like everyone else, reacting to circumstances, seeking validation, letting other people's doubts become your doubts, staying comfortable, staying the same. And nobody will blame you. That's the default setting. That's what most people do. Or you can decide right now, right this second, that you're done with that. You're done performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention to their own lives. You're done explaining yourself to people who aren't walking your path. You're done letting temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. You're done being less than you're capable of being. The choice is yours, but choose with awareness of what's actually at stake. This isn't about proving someone wrong. This isn't about revenge or validation or winning some imaginary competition. This is about honoring the brief flicker of consciousness you've been given. This is about using your time on Earth to become something more than the sum of your circumstances and conditioning. This is about joining a lineage of human beings who refused to be average, who chose discipline over comfort, who built from the inside out instead of the outside in. The ancient Stoics, they didn't have our technology, our opportunities, our information access. They faced war, plague, political instability, personal tragedy. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations in a tent during military campaigns. Seneca faced exile and eventually execution. Epictetus started life as property, as a slave. They had every reason to quit, to give up, to say that circumstances were too hard. Instead, they built philosophies that survived 2,000 years. They created wisdom that still guides millions. They transformed themselves so completely that we're still studying their lives, still drawing strength from their examples. Not because they had perfect lives, because they faced imperfect lives with perfect philosophy. You can do the same. You can take whatever circumstances you're in right now, whatever challenges you're facing, whatever doubters are surrounding you, and use it all as raw material for transformation. The pressure they're putting on you to break, that's not your destruction. That's your refinement. That's the heat that forges steel. That's the resistance that builds strength. You don't need them to stop doubting. You don't need circumstances to get easier. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to decide that who you're becoming matters more than their opinions of who you are. And here's the final truth, the one that should drive everything you do from this moment forward. They're not actually waiting for you to break. Most of them aren't thinking about you at all. They're too busy managing their own lives, dealing with their own fears, avoiding their own transformations. The person waiting for you to break is the old version of you, the version that chose comfort, the version that made excuses, the version that let fear win. That's who's waiting. And every single day that you choose discipline, focus, growth, transformation, you're proving that old version wrong. You're becoming evidence that change is possible. You're shutting down the internal critic. By becoming someone the internal critic can't touch. So stop living for their validation. Stop defending yourself against their doubts. Stop waiting for their permission. You don't need it. You never needed it. You have everything required for transformation right now. You have breath in your lungs. You have decisions to make. You have this present moment. That's enough. That's always been enough. The Stoics proved it. Every person who's ever transformed proved it. And now it's your turn to prove it. Before we end, I need you to do something. I need you to make a commitment right now. Not to me, to yourself. I want you to type in the comments your personal declaration. Not some generic statement. Your specific truth. What are you transforming? What old version are you leaving behind? What new version are you building? Make it real. Make it specific. Make it public. Because there's power in declaration. There's power in stating your intent to the universe and to yourself. Let your words be your witness. Let your declaration be the first step in the transformation that no one can stop. And if you found value in this message, if you felt that fire ignite, If you recognize yourself in these words, then do two things. First, like this video, not for the algorithm, though that helps. Like it as a personal reminder, as a bookmark for the day you decided to stop breaking and start building. Second, subscribe to this channel, because you're going to need reminders. You're going to have days when the old patterns try to pull you back. Days when their doubts start to sound reasonable. Days when comfort looks more appealing than growth. On those days, you're going to need philosophy. You're going to need wisdom. You're going to need someone to remind you why you started. That's what this channel is for. That's what this community is building. Warriors who understand that the real battle is internal, that transformation is daily, that discipline is destiny. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. You know who they are. The person in your life who's on the edge of transformation but hasn't taken the leap yet. The person who's letting other people's opinions hold them back. The person who needs to know that change is possible, that discipline is power, that they don't have to stay who they've been. Send them this. Not because you want to fix them, but because sometimes all someone needs is an example, a reminder, a voice that says, "You can do this, and here's how." They're waiting for you to break. They're watching. They're doubting. They're hoping you'll prove them right. Let them watch. Let them doubt. Let them hope. And then shut them down with something they can't argue with. Results. Transformation. Discipline. Character. The kind of life that speaks so loudly that words become unnecessary. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning. The real work starts tomorrow morning when you wake up and have to choose between comfort and growth. When you have to decide if yesterday's commitment survives today's challenges. When you have to prove to yourself that you meant everything you said. That's where transformation lives. Not in inspiration, in repetition, in the daily decision to show up even when no one's watching, even when results aren't visible yet, even when the old patterns are whispering that the old way was easier. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your circumstances. You are not their opinions. You are what you consistently do. You are the choices you make when it's hard. You are the discipline you practice when no one's checking. You are the character you build in the moments when you could quit but don't. That's who you are. That's who you're becoming. And that person, that disciplined, focused, transformed version of you, that person is unbreakable. Marcus Aurelius left us with this. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Their doubt is not your obstacle. It's your opportunity. Their expectation that you'll break is not your burden. It's your invitation to prove that you're built differently. Every challenge, every pressure, every moment they're waiting for you to fail is a chance to demonstrate Stoic power. Not through words, through being, through becoming, through transformation that speaks for itself. Now go. Take this philosophy and make it practice. Take these principles and make them patterns. Take this fire and forge it into discipline. The people waiting for you to break are going to be waiting for a long time. Because you're not breaking. You're building. You're transforming. You're becoming. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is going to stop that. Type your final commitment below. They're watching. I'm building. The transformation continues. Let me see that energy. Let me see that warrior spirit. Let me see who's really ready to shut them down with Stoic power. This is your moment. This is your path. Walk it with courage. Walk it with discipline. walk it like the Stoic warrior you're becoming. I'll see you in the next chapter of your transformation. Keep walking the path. Keep building the fortress. Keep becoming the person who can't be broken.